Marge Gibson. I'm Executive Director of Raptor Education Group. We're a wildlife rehabilitation and education facility for avian species in the state of Wisconsin. Weather affects our work in that anything that affects the birds that we work with will have an impact on the work that we're doing. Most of the time, strong winds, tornadoes are fairly obvious, but also hard rainfall, particularly if it arrives at a time when the chicks are young and delicate, aren't fully feathered, or during migration when perhaps the birds are suffering from migration exhaustion. It can be a problem, and weather does affect our work in that way. Recently we had a icing at altitude for loons and the grebes, piedbill and the redneck grebes as well. And how that occurs, and this is something relatively new, we have atmospheric conditions that are similar to those that create hail. But when the birds are migrating, particularly at night, and suddenly we have an icing event, the birds are at altitude and they become encased in ice and basically plummet to the ground in that way. They sustain internal injuries, broken legs and that sort of thing because they're heavy-bodied birds, and when they fall a great distance and are damaged in that way as well. We have had situations already where we are seeing species that do not currently reside in our area that are expanding territory, and this occurred with turkey vultures about 15 years ago into Langley County. They had never been nesting in this area previously, and now they're relatively common actually, and that's only been in a 15-year span. Just in the past few days we've heard of a black-necked stilt that is usually in much more warm areas. So we're starting to see some movement of warmer species birds into our area. Now we're also starting to see birds like even American robins and eastern bluebirds are starting to overwinter in parts of our state, and that's very unusual. That would never have happened, 15 or 20 years ago even. So it's relatively quick, and that's cause for concern. Climate change is real. We have to somehow do a better job of making the public understand that it's real and that it's not a trumped-up situation. It's very difficult in this time of polarizing political climate to make that jump, but it's something that in some way we have to make people understand and to try to curb it as much as we possibly can, and make people responsible to realize that it's our world, and they have an opportunity to perhaps make a difference in that world, and hopefully that's going to help.